mistake many of us make is assuming the people we're talking to, in this case the customer, really knows what you know, and it really isn't the case.
Dave, I think that is true. I think sometimes we forget to maybe explain what is in the services of our offerings. You know, product is pretty much the same, and I'm just saying if you buy XYZ product here, XYZ product's gonna be available usually elsewhere in town. It's pretty hard to differentiate yourself with product offering. That doesn't mean you don't make it important to a customer and don't build the value into it, but where you really differentiate yourself is with the services, the services of your store, of you yourself as a salesperson, as a sales manager, or the store in general. That's what I always call the DNA of a business. That's your what is different about you than everybody else that they're going to potentially consider to buy a floor from. We get myopic sometimes to the fact that we're here every day, we go through this over and over, we say it again and again, and then the customer would automatically understand our industry's jargon. No, they shouldn't. And why in the world should they? First of all, every customer deserves to get a presentation like you've never done it before. So I always say, how many times Tony Bennett sang Left My Heart in San Francisco, and yet when he sings it to me, if I'm in the crowd, I want to hear it with some enthusiasm. That's kind of, the analogy I would use to when we're making a presentation to one of our next customers in the door. But we'll say something is so much a square foot installed, and we kind of leave it at that. And really we sell ourselves so short, because now's the opportunity to explain to the customer why we represent a better value in a finished product, but in our services and our installation. Now's the time to talk about if you handle material in a different fashion. For example, if you cut everything in an enclosed warehouse, if you cut it on a cutting machine, if it's hauled out in an enclosed van, all these things are important to customers. And that doesn't mean that she won't buy from you, if you cut it in her driveway, or if you haul it in an open truck. In different parts of the country, that presents different opportunities and challenges. But my point is, if you do things the way the customer would probably ideally like them done, you're doing yourself and her a disservice if you don't explain how you're different from the store down the street. Same could be said with the various ingredients, as I call them. Tile, we're sitting in a tile room right now. If you talk about the quality of the thin sets or the quality of the joint fillers or the sealers, things of that nature, ma'am, you can buy, mortars anywhere from this much a bag to this much a bag. We use higher quality. Good cooks use good ingredients. Well, good installers tend to use good ingredients in your installation as well. But then don't stop there. You've got to give the customer the why should they care, the what's in it for them. And ma'am, this is important to you because, you should care because, this is going to be easier to clean, or it's going to last longer, or it's going to dry faster, whatever the attribute may be. So many times we say, we use a higher quality mastic or a better mortar, and stop. Also, always remember, don't use industry jargon. I always say, my wife's a smart lady, but she doesn't know an 8-pound pad from an 8-pound barbell. So why in the world are we talking about 8-pound cushion to her? She understands words like softer, warmer, quieter, luxurious, more economical, if you want to go that route. She understands all that, but she doesn't understand 8-pound. We do that all the time in our industry. We talk about so many ounces or twist levels and things and act like she's supposed to understand all this.
We do that so often, and it's ingrained in us. We assume everybody we talk to knows what that means.
Dave, I think that's part of it, and I think that's how it's sold to us. We have to remember products are sold to us on a specification basis. When we buy that bag of mortar or when we buy that roll of cushion, whatever it may be, they come in and they talk to us about how many pounds, what the thickness is. They talk to us about coats of finish or amount of aluminum oxide and all the, it's kind of a technical business. On the wholesale to retail side, we turn around and try to parrot those same things to a retail customer who doesn't understand the business, quite frankly, doesn't want to learn it.
And they want to hear the benefit. Why is this going to be better on my floor?
That's correct. And I always say, your words you choose them carefully, but use words to express, not to impress the customer. Because if we think we're impressing her with how much we know, really it'll backfire on you. she'll go to sleep on you. Use words to express things
Yeah.
from her perspective, her point of view, why it's important to her.
And it makes you the authority. It builds you up in her eyes because you seem to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there's that fine line between being the authority and being the know-it-all. So if we're explaining things from her perspective, why she should care, I think she'll be a lot more willing to accept the information than if we're just kind of being preachy about it in a know-it-all, frame of mind.